Merry Christmas, Bills fans. Boy, that first half didn't look like it was going to be too merry. Jesus, that was a rough one to watch in the first half. And then 29-point explosion, 4 touchdowns, and even then they were getting in their own way, um, or seemingly couldn't get out of their own way. It seemed like every time they had a positive play, it was bookended by a holding penalty, some offensive line procedure penalty. I believe they had one. It was like too many men in motion. It was a frustrating game to watch, but one that was just given the weather, the travel, all the stuff that went into it. Just it's par for the course with the Bills this season. It's either it's travel, weather issues. Los, what's up, man? Merry Christmas, brother. I know you guys are getting hammered up there in Buffalo and the surrounding areas, so I hope you all are good because you see some of the scenes, man. It's rough out there, bro. It's that meme. It's that little thing going around where the weather report says cold as balls everywhere, and that's the truth. But this game, man, it I don't know how cold it was compared to the New England game last year, but that was at night. This was, the sun. I don't know if many of you have been to Chicago. I've been there and been to the stadium, but it wasn't at a game. I just went because I wanted to see what Soldier Field looked like. And this was before the renovation. This was in 2012, and it's right on that lake. It is literally right on that lake, and it's rough, man. It's a rough. Oh man, at least they won for us today, man. That's a good thing. But it the winds, from what Josh said, is the thing that really disrupted the game, and we could just see from you saw Tyler Bass getting frustrated. You saw Naeem Hines, who's normally very very sure-handed, returning kicks and punts, just have issues. So there was just ball security types things everywhere, and the one big turnover was from a conventional one where Dane Jackson just comes down at run support, gets dirty, sticks his helmet in there on I believe it was Montgomery or Herbert. I can't remember which one, and forces a fumble. Tim Settle falls on it. The Bills score a touchdown and never look back in the second half. Yeah, Eric, you're just getting hit just relentlessly. I'm surprised. At least you guys still have power, man. That's a positive thing, because if you guys don't have power and that kind of cold with baby like you have, and just in general on Christmas, it's fucking Jesus. I mean, I saw videos of just power, like traffic signs blowing everywhere and just falling. I know there's a travel ban. The team's stuck in Chicago tonight. They're going to try to get back tomorrow in the AM. Hopefully they can do that safely as possible. But yeah, man, we saw it from the first. Was that the first play on offense where I was in shock? They're throwing it, and then Knox goes up and catches it in that cold, and then comes down on I thought it was his shoulder, and I even thought, man, he hit his head on that hard-ass turf. He's got a concussion. But the replay, they quickly showed, and he didn't hit his head. And after the game, he said he hit his hip, that he said he's okay. Came back in the game, scored a touchdown late, kind of the icing on the cake. That same drive, they were trying to get Cook over 100, and those are the two guys I'm going to start with. The motor, and the gas today were James Cook and Devin Singletary, and they were a true 1-2 punch for the Bills. Man, it was nice to see them just breaking off long runs. They had tons of space and they exploited it. The one touchdown run, if you go back and watch it, Motor puts his foot in the ground and just absolutely puts Jaquan Brisker in a blender. Scores the touchdown. I believe that wasn't even his longest run of the game. I believe his next one was like 33 yards, came in the second half, where he just squirted out of the pile and just bolted. Bills finished that off with, I think, the Josh Allen bootleg to finish off the game. But it was tough. It was a tough watch in terms of just ball security. Yeah, Eric, there was that little period there midway through the second quarter to about, and I really can't complain because they came out in the second half, scored a touchdown right away after the Bills held them. I believe that was right after the McDermott challenge on Ryan Griffin being tackled. He was down his knee. He held out the ball, but he was down half a yard short. And then Allen, he said, nose of the ball got, went tailing. It was just a crazy miss because and you saw it on the replay. You could only really tell on the replay how the ball kind of sailed on him, and it ended up in Morrow's hands. The first one I felt was egregious. You're right there on the fringe area of the red zone. I know he didn't see Kyle Gordon bail, but he's got to, you're putting it up. It ends up being double coverage with the shortest guy on the field. You can't throw that pass. That's just that pass really pissed me off right there. That was just like, Josh, that's rookie shit. You can't do that, dude. Like, he was bouncing. I was hoping at that point you're bouncing, nothing's coming free. Just take off. But yeah, Eric, I wanted them to run the ball more. There was that period between this, like when they were trying to do the double dip right before the half to some parts of the third quarter. I mean, there's only so much ire we can complain. They put up 29 points in the second half, and that's kind of something we were wanting to do. There's going to be people that maybe want to poo-poo the win and Allen's play, but look, Jalen Hurts had a terrible game last week. He had a good game rushing, but they barely beat that Bears team on that same field, and he ends up getting injured in the game. And he didn't have a great day passing. He threw 2 interceptions. He had a really a rough go of it. I was just, it was so rough with the win. That was the one that, because Diggs had the same thing, Eric. He catches the ball. He tries cutting it back, like to look for more room to run. I'm just like, just fall down there. Just fall down. You have the first down. You don't want somebody coming around the backside and punching a ball out, which is exactly what happens. Fighting for the ball there, it was kind of a 50-50. You want to get that call, but it's kind of like Allen is just throwing up to get that call. Yeah, I mean, he did catch the touchdown. He caught a couple of others. Nobody really had a big day in the passing game today. None of the receivers. Diggs, he catches his first pass, was the first pass of the second half, and then he caught one other. And that was really it. And Pickett just threw a terrible interception after you see Chandler Jones on the cart. And they have the ball on the other side of the field now. Oof, that was a rough watch. Yeah, it's just really hard to judge everybody. And next week, preliminary, what I looked at, I mean, how much can you tell? It's supposed to be like in the 50s in Cincinnati next week on Monday in a little bit of rain. That's what it's supposed to be like. Yeah, that was a shock that he wasn't getting the ball to him. I mean, and it was just such a weird day. But when the running game was clicking like that, and then you have the threat of Allen, putting the ball up, I mean, with the way the wind was going, the way they said it was going, it was irritating because Cairo Santos didn't seem to have any problem, but they didn't seem to want to kick field goals with him. I think they did kick 2, but they were more of the extra point variety. They weren't long field goals. They weren't beyond 35 yards, I don't think. They went for it on 4th down 4 times, only converted 1. The Bills they converted a shit ton of 3rd downs. They converted their only 4th down. That was a touchdown. Allen took in. Had no problem with them doing that there. I was glad they put I'm glad they got that little cherry on top touchdown with Knox. So I was a big fan of that. I always like, leave no doubt. Leave absolutely no doubt because, blow for blow, the Bills were the better team today. Chicago played tough. They were up against it. The Bills didn't look like they lost anybody injury-wise today, which was good. Bates went down, came back in, gutted it out. Butker came in, played a little bit of right guard. That was at the almost the end of the second quarter, but it was good that you heard that Bates came back in, and now they have a nice full 7 days to rest up till Monday night. Yeah, man, I saw a few plays with him, but it didn't look like there was any drop off, and that's a crazy way to come back into a game. It's fucking cold. What's up, Trevor? And you're just banging bodies right away, just like, hey, I'm coming in. I think he was the backup center, backup interior, but it was good to see them run the ball. I mean, you have 5. This team has they carry a fullback. That's kind of was originally an undersized tight end, H back, but he's now listed as a fullback. He caught a pass today, Reggie Gilliam. The backs overall today, Motor had 2 catches, 18 yards. Cook had a catch for 9 yards. Hines had that big third down conversion when they were going down to score to put it 28-13. And then Gilliam had a catch on the first scoring drive. So the backs today, I will say, really, really, they were the catalyst for this win. And it's good to see. Oh, and Pittsburgh intercepts it right back. Wow. What a turn of events. Yeah, I saw that, Trevor. The only way you could tell, I mean, if you just look at it from the regular TV view, it was shit. But then you saw it from the back, and then you saw the ball kind of just like the first one was terrible, though. Yeah, special teams was not. First half was really bad. I mean, even that one situation, is it like, I don't care who the Bills punt returner is. Anytime that they say they wave off the fair catch, they let the ball go, I'm like, is it just always going to be down at the 1? The ball never, and then when the Bills had a holy roller go, the refs gave Chicago the generous spot, which was like 8 yards worth of field position. I know the Bills 3 and outed him right there, but still, it's like, and then I forget which old ref they had come on and say, well, yeah, the ref should have, counted those extra spins that the ball took. It was like 8 yards. That was really, really. I was like, maybe I'm nitpicking, but that was yeah. I mean, I can't complain. Obviously, when you win by 22, I am complaining, but you look at Allen's stat line, it's not great, but he did what he had to do. And he did throw 2 touchdowns, one to Davis to open it, and then the one to Knox to end it, and then he runs in for a touchdown. So you always have his legs as an X factor. Wish Cook could have got 100, 11 carries, 99 yards, 9 a clip, 12 carries for Motor, 106, 8.8 a clip. So they were running the ball at 8.2 a clip. Great day. I was more afraid of the big, and we haven't even touched on this. How great, how amazing, after getting cooked by a team that's not considered a running team, you go up against the best running team in the NFL with a quarterback who has over 1,000 rushing yards, and they only allow 11 rushing yards by Justin Fields today. I was in shock at how well they bottled him up today. That was an amazing performance, amazing game plan by Leslie Frazier. You saw the ends were not over pursuing. They weren't, getting out of their lanes. They were really keeping it. You saw a guy constantly stunting to keep somebody in his face. Even when he was flushed out, they were just getting hands up. They weren't like, putting their head down and running right at him. I think he had the one where he ran out, got outside contain a little bit. But 11 rushing yards. That was, whew, that's the shock of the day. That is the shock of the day. They held them to 209 yards total. They ran one play difference. Bills ran 58. They ran 59. Most of those, those like whatever 5-6 plays they ran at the end were just nothing. Held the Bears to 80 rushing yards total, and I think 28 of those came. I think the bulk of their yards came on 2 plays, a 28-yard by a runner by Montgomery on their first drive. They score a touchdown. And then that 44-yard to Jones. I was like, of course, Allen turns the ball over. Their first play is a 44-yard, floats right to him. What's up, McBrizzle? How you doing, bro? Yeah, I mean, they really, you had to feel like they pulled from things they do against Lamar, Eric, and just said, you know what, we're just going to keep him bottled up. We're not going to let him get to the outside. Saw him get a little dinged up last week, and then you saw him get a little dinged up at the end of the game, and they just kind of pulled him. I kind of weird. Maybe they didn't run him as much because it's like, look, it's cold out there. It's frozen. We don't want you going into the offseason with an injury. Maybe, I don't know, but I'd like to think that they wanted to get the get him going, and the Bills just did a good job. I mean, Milano looked like he was spying on him a lot, just kind of standing there waiting for him. Well, Trevor, they were able to get one, brother. They were able to get one, man. They Dane Jackson came in, put his hat on the ball, and it was there on the turf for like a few seconds before anybody realized it was out. And then fucking Settle just comes flying in and lands on it. And he gets up and runs a little bit, but they said he was down by contact. I didn't see the contact, but there was a few plays today that the refs were, they just seemed very, very, very ready to throw flags on the Bills. And I didn't see a lot of the holding that the Bills got called. I didn't see any replays of one hold. I think I saw one. I think I got to see one. And yeah, they did. That was another one that they blew dead. And then there was a few others today. You see in games where they're like in the New England game, they don't blow Lamondre Stevenson's dead. He fumbles the ball, and the Bengals just get a gift from the heavens to win that game. And it was kind of all over the league. You saw like the Bengals kind of struggled. They just went into a shell. Patriots came back. I know I'm talking about a different game now. Similar with like Kansas City. They were just kind of there 17-3 forever. They ended up scoring late. I think Mahomes ran one in. Seattle scored. It was just really not a lot of action going on in any of the other games. It's not like anybody. So the Bills really, to go on the road, be a day early, stay a day later, it's a tough situation, and they've handled these situations brilliantly, especially around the holidays. Last time was Thanksgiving. This time it's Christmas. And these guys have really showed up and showed out for the fans and everybody. What's up, Captain? Yeah, he had Fields frozen for quite a few times. There was a few times I felt like Fields wanted to take off. Rousseau tripped him up on the one. Milano cleaned him up, and I don't know if it was a loss or just it's a nominal gain, but it was a good plan. Again, Edmonds looked good. I was just glad that there was no injuries. Injuries of note right now. Nothing that they're talking about, or nothing that came out of the game right away, or you saw a guy really get. You look like Phillips's shoulder, or his arm kind of like got aggravated. And you saw he had a lot of Canicchio tape and a brace on there, battling through it. Yeah, they've got to. I mean, I look back last year, there was the Atlanta game late, a game the Bills won at home. The weather was inclement weather. It wasn't like this type of wind, but it was snow. Bills ran the ball excellently in that game. Allen threw 3 terrible interceptions in that game. And even I believe it was the following week or one of the following weeks, he didn't have the best game against the Jets either. And they ended up going away with that game. And then he has that amazing playoff game. So, these games, the way they happen, it's like each week is so different. Yeah, it was the week before the end of the season, and that was after he had that, pretty damn good game in New England where they didn't punt. He has 2 sus games, then he has that playoff game at home against New England. So who knows, man? Yeah, the Pro Bowl, man, it's a flag football game now, Eric, and it's been a joke for a while. I mean, people like players stop taking that situation seriously when you're down to guys don't want to go because they're injured. They used to fly all the way out to Hawaii. It was kind of a free vacation for the family. The guys would get like a few $100,000 extra bonuses. They like that. And then it was like, well, we don't want to go. We don't want to go play in a game, whatever. Then you're down to like your 3rd, 4th alternates. Like this, it's not even a Pro Bowl anymore. It's just kind of like, then it turned into a glorified scrimmage where nobody wanted to tack. So it's just like, look, nobody wants to see anybody risk injury. Make a first team all pro team, whatever. a Pro Bowl team and just give the guy their bonuses, give them a free plane tickets to wherever they want to go and leave it at that. Nobody cares about the Pro Bowl. Nobody cares about it. But we know Milano has been an excellent player this year. It's kind of crazy. There's 2 more games to go, and they're announcing a Pro Bowl team. You think they would wait till the season was over, but the game itself was crazy. I mean, yeah, but like you said, Eric, the special teams, the coverage too. Jones had a few big kick returns, more than a few actually. Let me see his he had the long 40. He was 4 for 103, and I thought the Bills were. I thought the Bills were going to break a long one today, and I was like, "Uh-oh, it's the reverse of what I said." The only one positive in the passing game, the one positive, is Allen just kind of distributed the ball. I think he hit 9 different targets. 9 different targets. Nice to see Shakir. Shakir getting involved, caught 1 for 5. Then he had the nice one in the back of the end zone for the 2-point conversion. That was big. That got the score nice where you wanted it to be at 21 to, I believe it was 21-10 at that time. So it was good to see him get action. Beasley had a catch for 9. So they just got the guys involved, here and there. The Diggs getting involved too late, in my opinion. But again, in that weather and as close as they are to that lake and the way the winds looked like it was playing with the ball, you don't want to risk, crazy stuff. Even Knox said it's just like it was like landing on cement out there. I was really glad nobody got injured because there was a few of those runs. Allen went to grounds, the running backs, and they just kind of popped up. And I was like, oh, thank God. You don't want to see a guy land on his shoulder or land on his forearm or elbow. And because you're pretty much playing on a concrete slab. It's so damn cold out there. Yeah, well, the key times I think that the one interception to me that he threw, the first one was the bad one. That was the one. That was the one that got me. Outside of that, it was, it's kind of one of those games. You get through it, you get the win, and you go on to next week. And they were able to do it. You saw what kind of game it was going to be after the first quarter. It was going to end up being one of those ugly. It was close right up in the fourth quarter. They got the game to 13-21. They're down a score and a 2-point conversion, and the Bills, hung together, put 2 more touchdowns on the board, and put it away. But overall, you can't be too upset. 35 points. The defense played lights out. You hold the best rushing team in the league to under 100. When you just got finished getting gashed by a team that's, largely not seen as a running team in the Dolphins, and the Bills offense puts up, I felt like they could have ran for 300 yards today. I think in this league, everybody has the anointing oil out every other week or every other day. Instant, like the recency bias, like the Bengals seem to get more credit for their win against the Chiefs than the Bills do because it's a lot more recent, but it was at home. So, Bills went to KC and did it. I know the Bengals did it in the playoffs last year, but that's last year. And, Carr just threw another interception out of Renfro's hands right into Minkah Fitzpatrick, and he was down automatically, but still it's a pick. Yeah, that was the one thing I didn't like. What's up, Rick? How you doing, brother? Yeah, that I think that was the drive that really pissed me off. They had a 1st and 10, and I think that's when Allen threw the pick. I'm like, why did you run it and run it? And on the missed field goal drive, there was another situation where they decided to go, throw in it. And I don't know how that stadium plays with what end there's more wind or the whole stadium's an issue. I don't know. I'm not as familiar. I just know that Chicago, let's put it this way. There's a reason they've never had a 4,000-yard passer in Chicago. And if you look at their quarterback history, it is, I mean, they haven't had a quarterback since Sid Luckman. Let's just put it that way. Jay Cutler is their all-time leading passer. That just tells you all you need to know about their situation. It's an unfamiliar opponent too. It was tough. Oh, runny nose, guys. Sorry. I was outside yesterday, and it's pretty bad here, but I'm not going to bitch to you guys up in Buffalo. I want to see who their all-time leading. I believe it's Cutler. I don't want to be wrong. Career leaders. It's Cutler. Yep. Here, get this. This is crazy. Now, this is how crazy it is. Jay Cutler is think about the Bears, their history. So it's like long as hell. I mean, I think the team's over 100 years. Yeah. That long, would you say? Or am I exaggerating? Was it the one where Knox slid? I think that's the one where Knox slid. I remember that. I thought and then he bounced one. I think that's one he bounced to Knox. I just want to see something, because I think if I have this right, it's a pretty crazy stat. And that's minus today. Let me see. Wow. Josh Allen would be their second all-time leading passer if he were a Chicago Bear. He would be the second all-time leading passer. He would be second in touchdown passes. He would be first in completion percentage career. That's crazy. First in win percentage also. That's a wild stat. Like, that's how bad their quarter. I mean, there's a reason they've had quarterbacking history issues. Is that's the Bills have issues, in terms of with their weather, but man, they really have. Woo, and you could see why today. I mean, it was. I don't mean to go on about it, but the Bills had the prescription for the affliction. They ran the ball with conviction. I felt like they should have ran the ball more. There was a few times where they cut to the box and they showed Dorsey, and it was always after a Bills error, and it was like Dorsey like in slow motion. I wanted somebody to put that out there. It was a good one. Like, I want to save that. One right after the interception tomorrow. The other was after shit. I can't remember which mistake it was, but it was just like, I think it was after both picks. Yeah, he slid. Was it after the fumble? Okay. It was after the fumble. That was like, to me, Davis, you have to go down. Davis, go down. You learn from that shit, though. That's the good thing, is they're going to learn from. We've seen this team learn from stupid shit, and we can't all sit here and not say that we weren't afraid. After that first half is over, the score is what at the time? 10-6. We're all sitting there like, oh, there the Bills go again, playing down to the competition. After a 5-game winning streak, they're going to go and lose to this team, and it's going to be weather. It's going to be an inability to run the ball. It's going to be turnovers. It's going to be very Jacksonville-esque. And you know what? They put their foot down and said, no, we're gonna get back to doing what works, and we're gonna play the kind of defense we know how to play, not abandon it, not panic, and they held it down. And I'll give 17 credit. Allen doesn't stop throwing the ball to the end zone. No matter what happens, he doesn't get rattled. He doesn't get scared. He still gives his guys chances. And we've seen so many times, in this Bills quarterback history where, guys become gun shy. Guys become, they become, they get trigger shocked. They don't want to put the ball up. No, they don't, man. That was like the sequence where I'm like, I believe the Bills held there, though. I don't know if it was a field goal, but I believe the Bills held there. It might have been a 4th down stop that they got, but they did them, man. I give them a lot of credit because this type of game with that type of quarterback, that was going to be tough. That was going to be very, very tough, and it wasn't going to be. I mean, I'm in shock. I mean, if somebody would have told me, any of us, that they were going to hold him to that little rushing yards, I would have. I'm like, there's no way. There's literally no way that they're going to hold Justin Fields to uh, 11 yards. The guy has, excuse me, let's see his rushing for the year. He has exactly 1,000 yards, and he did nothing. 143 carries, 7 yard per clip, and he was a non-entity today. He had one big time pass. I mean, his first pass of the day, I believe it was the first third down conversion. No, it was a one to get a first down. It was the 19-yard pass to Pringle, and after that, even that was it. They went into a big lull. They hit the 44-yarder, and there was nothing else in the passing game. And I know they don't have the best receivers and all that type of stuff, but they went down the field on the first drive, Eric. Like you said, it was just like boom, boom, boom. It was like, oh Christ. But it's weird. It seems like the Bills give up those early drives, whether they ends in field goal or touchdowns, and it's kind of like defensively, they just kind of like figure out what the opponent's doing and just say, okay, we're going to calm it down. I mean, off the heels of last week, where I felt like the defense wasn't good on paper, but if you watch the game contextually, they got stops when they needed to get stops. And they held field goals when they needed to hold field goals. I mean, the one touchdown drive they let up in the second half that was looked like it was going to really kill them. They got a 3-and-out after they got the ball. Miami gets the ball at midfield, and then Cam Lewis commits that awful roughing the punter. Dolphins get the ball at the 15, and then I think a play or two later, Tyreek Hill's in the end zone. And they didn't let that kill them last week, and they didn't let their mistakes kill them this week. So I'm really, really, really happy to see this team has a resolve and a mettle. They don't get rattled. It's like it's not same old Bills where if the game, the flow of the game, they always bring up the flow of the game. When things start, not going their way, they don't like capitulate. They don't crumble. They don't start hanging their heads. They just kind of keep playing ball, get their footing back underneath them, and then the plays start happening. It didn't take long. I mean, remember they had the one, like in the first half, for example, they had the one Cook run. It was like for about 10 and change. It was a nice run, first down, holding, Roger Saffold. The obligatory Roger Saffold holding penalty for 4 or 5 weeks in a row now. Oh, Christ. And that was another issue today for me, was the penalties. It just this reffing crew just loved calling them on the Bills. They were just everywhere. And for a team that bad, they weren't getting any. They were like, we feel bad for them. We're just not going to throw the flag on them today for shit. Next play to Cook, though, after that, penalty, backs him up. He runs for 23, 23 plus yards, first down. So things like that. They went right back to it, didn't affect them. And I believe they ended up scoring on that play on a few plays later. So credit to them, man. They did what they had to do today, and they won. Allen wasn't pleased with his play after the game. He wasn't patting himself on the back. He was patting his teammates on the back, which he always does. Even when he plays very, very well at a high level, he still gives his teammates all the credit in the world. He seemed like, I got to get 14 involved. I've got to get him involved. So it's a big week, but I'm glad they have a few extra days of rest given this whole travel weather situation. And if they're playing in 50-degree weather next week, it's going to be like a godsend. Yeah, Ruseo looks more explosive than he's ever looked to me. He's looked more just fast off the edge. He's using his length. You see him beating tackles clean off the line. 6.5 sacks this year. He's obviously has a career high. And Shaq Lawson coming back has been excellent. And this is all off, not having Vaughn. Oliver had a sack today. So they really overall have been, outside of last week, have been very, very good. I mean, you would think like the Jets rushing performance, the Dolphins last week, there was no situation this year to this point where it was like a cult situation where they just got, beaten from pillar to post, from whistle to whistle the whole game. That just has not happened. As a matter of fact, today you could say it was the reverse. The Bills, if they clean up a few things here and there, this is a 40 burger easily. But you know what? You take what you get. And if you feel like with this team, if they score 35 points, you're going to win every game. So, I mean, and 29 of those points coming in the second half is huge. Second half points. Those are the big boys. And it was good to see them rebound like that. You come out and you score right away. That was huge. I don't know if you guys watched the Eagles and Cowboys game at the end there. I want to throw this off you, and I want you to see if you think I'm right. My friend didn't disagree with me, by the way. He agreed with me. They were last big pass they had over the middle. Beautiful ball from Minshew. He hits Devontae Smith over the middle. He goes up and gets it, goes down. They run up to the line, spike it, and they waste 10 seconds doing that and a down. I said, that was stupid. What the fuck? Take your time out. You're at the 19-yard line. You wasted a down in 10 seconds to save a timeout. Your guys don't have to run back 30, 40 yards. You're not trying to pick up chunk plays. You're going to go for it on all 4 downs. You can still use the middle of the field. You have 43 seconds left. You can still get on the ball and spike it if you absolutely want to, or just get on the ball and run the play. And you still can get out of bounds and stop the clock, or an incomplete stops the clock. You wasted a down in 10 seconds. Like, I felt like for the Eagles, I felt like they lost the game right there. No, they weren't out of timeouts. They had one timeout, and they didn't want to take it. Devontae Smith catches the pass up in the air, spins, falls. They run around, they place the ball, everybody gets lined up, they spike it. 10 seconds run off the clock. They would have had 43 seconds and all 4 downs. They just take the timeout right there. Take the timeout. The second he lands, he should have took the timeout. Instead, they wasted 10 seconds, which ran the clock down to 43. No, I'm sorry. It ran the clock down to it went from 53 to 43, and they wasted it down. They spiked it at 2nd and 10, and they throw 3 straight incompletions, and it's game over. Because I don't think you don't need the space. You have 19 yards of field position in front of you and the end zone. You're going to go for it. They needed a touchdown and the PAT to win. You don't need, you save a timeout if you still want to use the middle of the field, but they don't need any chunk plays. You're at the 19-yard line. You can still pick up another first down. You're going to be trying to attack the end zone. So I just didn't get the rationale. What was the point of that timeout? The timeout cost you 10 seconds and a down. I want another chance with the ball. I don't want the ball being spiked. That's just, to me, I thought it was a very stupid. I just wanted to see if you guys thought the same thing. Because how many plays can you run in 10 seconds? 2? 2 plays, I think. Especially if it's one's quick with, quick hitter. You get out of bounds quick. And you're at the 19-yard line. It's not like I get it if you're on your side of the field and you're trying to get, 20 plus yard plays. I just felt like that was dumb. That to me, that was you wanted to keep that timeout. That was the same as a coach taking a timeout to not get a 5-yard penalty. That's stupid. I'd rather keep the timeout in certain situations and lose the 5 yards. in the, depending on the score and stuff. But then there's another time where I'd rather I don't give a fuck about this timeout because this is where we are. It's not a field goal I want. It's a touchdown I need. It's not like the Bills last week where they were just playing field position, trying to run the clock. They didn't need that. It's like, we're just going to take the timeout, 2 seconds, kick the field goal, we win. No, they needed to score a touchdown. Sorry to go on about that, guys. I just wanted to see what you guys thought because I was like, why aren't they calling the timeout? But look at this game with Pittsburgh and I granted it's not like the Bills and stuff, but it's 10-3. It's cold as hell. Nobody can really get their traction in this game. There's a lot of turnovers in this game. I think 3 or 4 interceptions have been thrown in the second half, if I'm not mistaken. And I'm not trying to use that to massage what happened with the Bills today or anything like that. I made a comparison. There was a lot of Bills fans I noticed bitching, and there's a few Bills accounts that people really like, putting up Isaiah Hodges numbers against Gabe Davis. I'm like, Isaiah Hodges plays on a team that has nobody at wide receiver, and he gets like 10 targets a game. He's on the Bills. He's behind Diggs, Davis, like Allen running the ball, Cook getting his carries, Knox. I mean, like, what are you doing? Like, that's just like, you're just trying to start shit where there's no reason to start shit. Only on a day where the team scores 35 points do you get certain Bills fans like, I don't like that. Not good enough. I mean, yeah, I didn't like the mistakes, but I'll fucking take that win and I'll take 35 points. But I pose this. Look at a team, for example, that's playing at home, a Great Lakes team that, from everybody, if you ask, built for the snow, has the highest paid offensive line in football, 2 running backs that are Pro Bowlers, 2 offensive tackles that are top 15 picks, PFF's highest rated guard, another guard that they paid a lot of money to. Just got their big-time quarterback that they got back in a trade. And they're playing a dome team coming from New Orleans, and they only scored 10 points and can barely break 100 yards rushing and lose. Imagine that, the Cleveland Browns. So a team that everybody views as built for the elements, built for the snow, just vomits all over themselves, while that dome team handles it better, doesn't turn the ball over as much, runs the ball better, and wins against an Andy Dalton quarterback team, a statue. Thank you for 2017, though, but still. I mean, that's a team, they were battling for their playoff lives at home. Like, for me personally, I think that, I guess it's just the Browns are hidden by being the Browns, but that's egregious to me. I would think that's egregious. I would think that's a seismic loss if that happens to the Bills. If that happens to the Bills, that's just sends ripple effects. And you'd hear it. You're going to hear it after this game. Yeah, there was a few of those. And I think that's been all year. I think that, you have, and there's been spots where he did it, like with Hines. He took it, first down. It's like, positive. He tried doing it with Cook and the ball sailed on him. Knox was open, in fairness, and the wind caught it and just took it right to the goddamn turf. The one to Gordon, the one that Gordon got, he didn't, that was a great play by Gordon. He was lined up at the line of scrimmage. Allen didn't see him bail all the way. But my issue there is you're trying to throw it to the shortest guy on the field, and it's still going to be a play he has to go up and make. And that I don't like. If you're throwing that to Diggs or Davis, okay, but not to Isaiah Hodge, not to Isaiah McKenzie, not to the Smurf. No. So, I mean, again, we've seen Allen rebound plenty of times, and at the end of the day, he did account for 3 touchdowns, and that contributed in a win. He had one botch snap he was able to fall on, which was huge. I believe, I don't know. I think Van Roten was the center when that exchange happened, but it was just one of those situations where, again, Hines is going to let the ball roll, and then it gets down to the 2. It's just like, oh god. But yeah, they were in they were in some tough spots today, and they handled it as well as you could. I don't know, man. Next week is next week. I mean, guys, how they feel physically, guys, everything's going to play into it. I know the Bengals lost Lyle Collins today. I don't know if he's going to make it back for next week. I know they had a hell of a hard time in the second half against the Patriots. Burrow threw 2 picks. I think one got returned or close to return for a touchdown. I didn't start following that game till late. I know they were up 22-0, and they didn't score a point in the second half. And the Patriots went on a big run. They didn't run the ball particularly great. But look, like, Patriots are going in the win, and Ramondre Stevenson for the second straight week vomited all over himself. And that was the fucking game. If he holds onto the damn ball, shit, I think the Patriots might win. Yeah, Marcus Jones, he took a pick 6 back to the house. I knew that I had heard there was a pick 6 in that game. Yeah, right. It was just like the perfect with the fumble. Yeah, that was crazy. I was just glad he fell on it, and it was a 3 and out, that whole sequence. It was just like you wanted to pull your hair out. Like, I've been sitting here all day just like thanking, I know the way we're talking, the way some of the way I'm talking, I'm kind of waffling back and forth. They scored 35 points. The run game had its best day all year on a day that it needed to have it. When you're playing in, was it 20 sub-zero temperatures? The field is ice cold. The wind is gusting from this way, that way. Every facet of the game was affected by the wind, whether it was the kicking game, the guys fielding kicks and punts, receivers tracking the ball, quarterbacks throwing, the handling of the football. So it wasn't like, one team handled it better than the other. It was just one of those. It was one of those games where the Bills are the more talented team. They were able to adjust and have a one unit play at a very, very high level on defense, and then their offensive run game just dominate the game. And it was good to see. You carry 8 offensive linemen into the game. You routinely use an extra offensive line set with Bobby Hart. You have a fullback with Reggie Gilliam. And, you carry 5 running backs on your active game day. Yeah, run the fuck, batter a team sometimes, batter a team. You got a big mobile quarterback who can make hay for you, but you have a guy who's a clear change of pace back now who can break a long one, and Motor can, grind out tough yards. He can shift, he can move. He's hard to see behind the line. He's short, and he's a tough runner. Yeah, I mean, just like today. I mean, 20-3. 12-3. After last year, they were 11-6. So they still have 2 more games to improve on that and match, at least match the franchise record for wins in a season, which is 13, and they have a chance to surpass it with 14. So everything that they want is still out in front of them. They control their own destiny. I mean, and 3 straight AFC titles. I mean, as many videos as I've made, as many lives as I've done, like as many times as I've said, who would, outside of winning the thing that we all want them to win, yet they've done everything that we could have expected times 100. With this turnaround and the type of people that they bring in, and their ability to manage crisis, whether it's weather, whether it's player issues, whether it's injury, whether it's travel, anything. They really are great at it. I mean, I put out a tweet last week about the Patriots. I'm like, they remind me of a team. They remind me of the Rex Ryan Bills. This is Bill Belichick. They remind me of the 2016 Rex Ryan Bills. Period. Mental errors, outplayed regularly, poorly coached. Staff has a bunch of, old friends and family on it. Head coach looks out of answers. The team makes boneheaded errors that lose them games like today. Do you think on that against the Bills, like fumble a last second, like back when Brady and them were in their heyday? No, the Bills would have done that. The Bills would have been the team like, hey, we're going in to win this game. Fucking LaShawn McCoy or Fred Jackson or Mike Gillislee or whoever else fumbles the fucking ball and we lose. We were first and goal at the 6? And that's what happened to the Patriots today. And Ramondre Stevenson, after what happened to them last week with the moron throwback to end the game. Those are crazy losses. After they're down by 22, they tease their fans and lose the game. And I was rooting for them to win. I was like, shit, I like them to beat the Bengals here. Then I saw they were down 22-0. I was like, well, that ship sailed. Then I saw them kind of creeping back in the game. I'm like, uh-oh. Yep, no Brady. No, not even an average. They're below average because I think they're stuck in that dynasty rut. They don't know how to recover from it. They still think it's like, well, we're going to figure it out because Belichick, the hoodie is still there and he's got a deity-like, aura amongst some still. Like, no, the guy is not a miracle worker. He's not a messiah. He's not, the guy was talked about with such a reverence, like almost like he invented the game. There's a reason why they were caught cheating so goddamn much too, people kind of like it gets lost. They did lose 2 first-round picks and were fined a boatload of money for cheating multiple times. And I remember when that whole thing with the Bengals came out where they were filming their sideline and then the arrogance of why would we want to film a team's sideline that's this record? But it was clear that they were doing that because they were doing this in-house thing called Just Do Your Job. But I think it's kind of funny that, we're on to the Patriots, we're on to Cincinnati, and then the Bills are playing Cincinnati next week. Oh, God, Eric. I will say that, if you want to talk about the AFC East a little bit, we saw it last week with Tua. Once you get him off his first read, you get him out of rhythm, he can't make a makeup play. He's not going to be Josh where he can scramble or he could come off and make a huge play. Because despite a few of the mistakes Allen made today, a boatload of his big plays come off of that second and third, recycle of the play where he's scrambling and trying to make something out of something that's broken. Tua's incapable of that. He's not going to decompress you with his legs. He's not going to, be able to go to the second and third. He's just incapable of it. Jones is a yesteryear quarterback. Immobile, accurate, and just kind of a guy. And then there's the Jets. And I have never seen a team or heard of a team, and because I live here, but you guys have to hear it too. You hear nationally syndicated radio as well. I've never seen a team that's 2-6 in their last 8 games get so much credit. This is a Super Bowl defense. This is a great, really? Is it a Super Bowl defense? They're not culpable for those losses. I know their quarterback play hasn't been great, but you're banking on Mike White, who's 2-4. He played a team with a pulse, the Bills at home, and got knocked out of the game twice. He played a team that had a pulse last year after his, big win that he had against Cincinnati and got knocked out of the game against the Colts. They went to Minnesota and didn't win. Shit, the Giants went to Minnesota today and came close but lost on a fucking 60-yard field goal. He gets, what's up, Matt? How you doing, bro? He gets so much like just not to say a pass, and it's nothing against him, but they pretty much like destroyed any value that Wilson has. And I said, frankly, I was arguing with a few, not say arguing, but I was kind of in a back and forth with a few Jet fans. They were like, "Oh, if we would have had Mike White, this and that." I'm like, if what? You don't. He got knocked out of the game. Injuries are part of the game. You want to bring up Breece Hall too? I can bring up Von Miller. Oh, but like, dude, you're talking about a Jets team that hasn't won shit. I'm talking about a team that's now a 3-time AFC champion, AFC East champion. Like, it's not like you're talking about a team that has a fucking a laundry list of success. And I asked him this. This is how I ended it. Yeah, he's yeah, he did. It was Eli Apple. You can go back and watch it. He low cut the shit out of him on on a. I don't know why either. He just fucking went low on his ass. But I ended the argument like this, and I think you guys will agree. There's Mike White is a free agent at the end of this year, right? Name me the team that's going to line up and compete against the Jets for his services to be their starting quarterback. I'll hang up and listen. Now I'll double it and say, name me the team after everything that's going on with Zach Wilson, who's going to trade anything above a what? A conditional draft pick, which ends up being what? A 7th? In most cases, for Zach Wilson. Name me the team that's going to do anything like that. No, I don't see it. I don't see one team in this league trading anything other than a conditional draft pick for Zach Wilson, and I don't see any team in this league lining up to compete for the Jets for Mike White services. Nobody. And they're going to have to pay him money. And the whole reason you have a rookie quarterback is to have him on that rookie wage scale so you can just build a team. They're going to have to pay Quinnen Williams an extension. They're going to have to cut Corey Davis for his money. They're going to have to cut CJ Mosley. Mekhi Becton's has so far been a bust. Their offensive line has collapsed. I mean, even him, he's hurt all the time too. I mean, we've also heard Brady back to New England. Gronkowski retired rather than play New England. And then he shows up back in Tampa Bay with Brady. They win a Super Bowl, play another season, and he retires again. What are they going to do? Their offensive line is a mess. They're going to go get 100-year-old Dante Scarnecchia. It's crazy. Like, it's one of those things, like, you can't recover from what they've had. You had this 20 years of amazing, success that no other team in any other sport has seen. Whether it's soccer, whether it's football, baseball, we've seen dynasties before, but a 20-year run of, pretty much a lock to play in the AFC Championship, 9 Super Bowl appearances, 6 championships. That's insane. I mean, how do you compete? How do you, when that all goes, and the calls for Bill's head have grown. And I know there was somebody who stole this stat that I put up, that's on a radio station. He took it from me because my post is way earlier. I wanted to say something to his ass, but I didn't. But Bill Belichick, now it's 167 games without Brady. He's now 80-87. He's under a 480 clip. Win percentage, 1 playoff win. That was with Vinny Testaverde in what was considered a 94 season at home against the Patriots, by the way. Kind of funny. Dave Wannstedt has 169 games, 82 wins, the same amount of L's, 485 clip, 2 playoff wins. Again, who was it? We all know who it was. Yeah, Eric, he has no trade value. 0. Nobody's taking him. Like, they just have to cut him. And that was the guy that was going to be like, hey, this is supposed to be his third year. The team is supposed to be like, and now they're starting to question Salah. But for them, it reminded me of when they were done with Sanchez. They realized that they were done with Sanchez. They benched him for Greg McElroy against Arizona. It was a terrible game. The Jets ended up winning it 7-6 at home. And they pulled him for Greg McElroy. And Ryan Lindley was the quarterback for Arizona. It was terrible. Sanchez threw 3 picks. I don't even remember. I think it was just an awful game. Yeah, he just looks like he's in over his head. He looks like he's just completely in over his head. With no way it's like he doesn't even do anything well. Like even when he runs around and that's what he's supposed to do, make those off-schedule, off-script plays. More times than not, those turn into be mistakes. He's not big. He's not particularly mobile. Who's going off for the Raiders? I have the sound down. I don't see who they're taking in. Look at this game. It's 2 teams battling for their playoff life. 6-8, 6-8. Old school NFL rivalry. Post merger, Raiders, AFL, Steelers, NFL. The owners, I don't know if you know the story. They're in the Plaza Hotel arguing for over a week after the merger. Who's going to go over to the AFC? Who are the 3 teams that are going to have to go from the NFL? It became the NFC over to the AFC to make it even. They argue for a week, and then they're just like, they get to the point where like, we're never going to solve this. What do? They put names in a hat, and the teams that end up going are the Steelers, the Browns, and the Colts. And that's how they ended up they were NFL franchises pre-merger. Yeah, I saw that, Eric. I saw he was on a cart. Was that before the half? Saw he was on. I don't know who this is with the hood. Who is that? Oh, Pickett almost threw a bad interception, but it was just batted down. Who's the guy they keep showing like this with like the hood on, though? That looks injured. I thought he could have ran for this. He couldn't. He was bottled up. See, there's so many plays in these games where I think about Allen and like, damn, I think he could have done this and this, if he was in that situation where I see like a quarterback like Pickett's not capable of doing it because he can't move. He's not big enough. And they have to punt. It's 4 and change in the fourth quarter too. So this is getting right down to it, guys. It's going to be a close finish. Thanks for everybody who's in the room. I keep forgetting this is Christmas Eve. Thank you. I know a lot of you guys are maybe like your family fatigue right now. You probably have a lot of family around, or even then it's just like all the shit you got to do during the holidays is buying gifts and, being, you got to interact with a lot of people. Maybe you likewise don't want to, or maybe that can stress you out or get to you. I mean, people don't really take that into account. You just kind of like want to stick with your flow, especially, you have a few people that you hold dear, it's probably like no more than 8. Outside of that, it's not much. Yeah, he's a freak. I felt like, if he's the quarterback for Pittsburgh, I feel like he gets that first down. Okay, so I thought that was Jacobs that was in. It's not Jacobs. Jacobs still on the field. This is why I have to check Twitter because I don't know who the hell was going off the field there. Yep, the team is still in Chicago in the hotel. Doesn't seem like oh wow, look at this. Guys, this report just came down. Could have been scary. Any team in the playoffs is scary, man. Any team, Eric, because you get into that one and done. That's why getting that bye. Yeah, no get-togethers, bro. Like that sucks too, you know. So there's that part of it. Well, like, hey, like, you know, there's some normal things that we usually do. We're not doing no more. Nobody's going anywhere. I think you have a travel band up there, yeah? Well, listen to this, guys. I hate this guy, but he's putting it out there. Bengals charter diverted to JFK after engine trouble. Bengals hit some turbulence during their game against the Patriots, and now plane trouble on the way back to Cincinnati had to land in New York. So, well, that's a good. I mean, it's good that they got on the ground. That's crazy. I mean, weather is horrible everywhere. Oh, kind of. Yeah, he threw an interception to a guy on the sideline. 4th and 5. Punting the ball back to Pittsburgh. Looks like Pittsburgh's coming for a pump block here. 3 minutes, 2 seconds left. They're gonna let him get it off. Good punt. Is he fair catching it? He fair catches it at the 24-yard line. So Kenny Pickett. I mean, how many field goals has Boswell missed today? He's like 2. He's missed quite a few kicks. Yeah, you have travel bans. I thought I saw that right, Eric. Yeah, there's it's crazy too because the Titans, going back to your thing, Eric, the Titans just seem like they're just after they fire their GM, Tannehill just kind of has surgery, he gets injured. It seems like they're a team they were leading the division and they're just kind of throwing in the towel on the season. They're kind of punting on the season. That's crazy. I think they're going in a different direction. He checks it down to Harris for 8 yards. 6 yards. That's a good play on first down. Basically, Buffalo's closed right now. The airport is closed until at least Monday morning at 11 a.m. Even EMTs can't get to. Wow. Well, yeah, some of the videos that I've seen have been pretty brutal with the wind and the snow and just the things like just it just looks treacherous. Like there's no way to really go around safe anywhere. I think their coaching has a lot to do with that, Eric. I think their coaching. I just don't think McDaniels is a good coach. I know they had some injuries with Waller, and they lost Waller for a large part of the year. They mismanaged his hamstring injury, and then they lost Renfro. They just got them back this is the first time they got them back, and Jacobs has really carried them offensively. Their offensive line has been a mess. They had the whole situation where they're cutting all the first round picks or picks by the Gruden and Mayock regime. Their defense is in transition. But on the flip side, this is not a good quarterback class. It's not like Carr makes a lot of money either. Who's behind door number 2? It's not like a Jet situation where you're talking about. It's like, well, anything is better behind door number 2 than what they have at the current situation. Like anybody's better than Wilson, and that's not making anything up. That's a fact. That's why Mike White is so revered here. Just a competent quarterback. Think about that. I'm just competent. I mean, you need special to win. 2 interceptions, 2 drop passes, 2 missed field goals, 1 interception, 3 drop passes. That was another thing today that was big, guys. I forgot that the 3 turnovers the Bears got, 3 points. Then the 1 turnover, I mean, they got 2 turnovers, but that was a Hail Mary by Nathan Peterman at the end. And it's crazy how everything always comes full circle. Nathan Peterman's last start for the Bills was against the Bears. That was his last start, and they lost. Obviously, they got blown out at home in 2018 in that game. The Bills scored a touchdown off the forced fumble by Dane Jackson. So, the guy was injured was Denzel Perriman. Okay. Yeah, I couldn't tell. I mean, I don't know what he looks like by face because I know what a few players look like by face. Like all of Craig Hayward's kids, I know by face. Not only because fucking homeboy's a really good player, but my aunt went to high school with their father at Passaic High. She said he was a dick, but she's not a nice person herself. But I remember Ironhead when he played in the league. Like she said, yeah, I went to high school with him. He was an asshole. He died relatively young too. It's crazy to think he has 3 kids that play in the NFL now. But homeboy for the Steelers is really really good. That kid's been the best one of all his kids. Do you think Fryermuth caught it? They're really crazy now with this surviving the ground shit. Like if the ball moves like just like this little, he caught it. Oh, did he regain control? This like he caught the ball. All right, his knees down. I can guarantee they're gonna say, "Oh, he didn't control it till he was out of bounds." It's so easy to do this. Like you're officiating the game in real time. An official is standing right there. Okay, they stick with their call. Okay, that's good. I hate when they go back and then they break down all the shit and then they recuse themselves. I'm like, look, just stick with the call on the. It's Aaron Drew. I hate that shit, and I'm not rooting for the Steelers in particular. I just think it's stupid. Like, stop that. We all could be. We could all officiate a game 100% if we went back on HD. Oh, that could have been a game ender right there. That's a bad. I always hate those over the middle, like boom. That's why the first pass of the game for the Bills scared the shit out of me. He goes up high to Knox, so he went up and got it, and then he landed. I was like, oh shit, that's a dangerous pass, right off rip. But I was just hoping he wasn't hurt or concussed or anything like that. That was my big thing. I was like, Jesus Christ, just don't be hurt. Please don't be hurt. Harris. Oh, carrying Raider defenders. Holy shit. Raiders trying to make a game of this. See, they have 2 timeouts. They have 1:07. Okay, I get it. You're running. You know you just want to. You're going to go. That's fine. Just play it. Pick it. Dunks it right down. It's going to be like a cheap 6 yards. He gets out of bounds. It's fun doing this with you guys when you're in the room, like we're watching. That's why I'm sorry I don't come on earlier, but I like to come on during halftime of the night game so we can kind of watch a game together too a little bit. I don't know if you guys got that rationale yet, but that's why I come on late. Because I have emotionally, I don't know if you guys are the same way as I assume some of you are. I have to come down. Even Bills wins games, I have to I really do have to come down from. He shouldn't have caught that. He should have just let it go to the ground because the clock is going to continue to run and you lost 2 yards. That's stupid. Just and then they just have to waste the timeout. Dumb play. Dumb play. He's one of the least talented first round running backs I've ever seen in my life. And I'm not a big fan of that. But I get that there are guys that are really, really talented and they are first round talents. Like Saquon Barkley. Should he have been picked second overall? Absolutely not. But he's a first round talent, 100%. Zeke in his heyday, he's a first round talent. No, they said it was complete. They took a timeout. He's got it between his legs. He's holding it between his legs. And he just holds it there. They take a timeout to stop the clock. He really never has control over it, but when it's in between his legs, oh, you see the ball bounce up. That's weird. Are they looking at it in the booth? Oh, it is a booth review. That's yeah, we're living in a simulation. I swear to God. Okay, so it was incomplete pass. Put the time back on the clock and give them their timeout back. Yeah, where he has it pinned. And they see, okay, that's a good play. That actually benefited them, the Steelers. Getting the time back and see now, like if they get a play that they can get a first down with, then you take a timeout and then you cross your I's and dot your I's and cross your T's for your, because you're gonna have to go for the touchdown. Is that a first down the Freiermuth, or is he down short? They're saying he's down short. They've got to measure that. They've got to measure that. Freiermuth goes low. Pickett spun him around there. Oh, he's like that. Yeah, he's just short. You have a big first round running back like that, you should be able to pick up 8 inches, man. Some guys can fucking just drop their pants and make that shit. 55 seconds, one timeout, 4th and he got it. He got it. Second effort got it. Wow. That was close. That was close. He got it. He got it. Barely. Oh. And he's limping. It's always scary, man. It's like if you go see the Lyle Collins injury, like he's back, like the play is over, and then his own lineman pushes I think it's Barmore or Davis, one of the Patriots defensive linemen, and he just hits the fuck out of the back of his legs. It rolls his knee up. It's like, oh man, those plays always scare the shit out of me. He's first down. He got it. So they could still get a first down too without scoring a touchdown. No timeouts left. Touchdown. Holy shit. My guy. My guy. Fucking Pickens. Let me ask you a question. Do you go for 2 or do you kick a PAT? If you're the head coach, Mike Tomlin, do you say we want to go for 2, make them have to score a touchdown? Because this is going to be interesting. They have all 3 timeouts. LA, fucking nope, they're kicking the PAT. He got it. So he got it. All right, we're going to come down to it. Yeah, they have all 3 timeouts. Pickens just took it right down the seam. Pickens put it on him too. Pickett to Pickens. Oh, that reminds me of the Davis touchdown in the playoffs. I don't even want to bring that up. Looked the same, just the other. He ran the route from the other side of the field. It's the same thing. Puts it right in the hole between the safety and the slot corner. And that safety doesn't get over fast enough. I wonder what the temperature is out there. All right, Carr's going to get a chance. -8? I believe it. All right, short kickoff. What? Fields it. Trips over his own 2 feet. So they got 43 seconds. 43 seconds and change. Let's see what they do. Oh, wind chill. Oh, fuck. -33? Yo, that's crazy, man. Oh, no, they're going to. Look at that drive. 7 for 9, 75 yards. Big drive for him. 3 timeouts left. Oh, wow. Oh, he was out of bounds. That ball, you saw how that ball held up in the air, though, guys? Did you see that? Watch. The ball just kind of like, it was almost like a punt. Nah, he was out. He was out. See, since they have all their timeouts, the middle of the field is wide open, so I don't know why they don't go there. But Pittsburgh is playing straight up. They're not playing any kind of prevent. Oh, what a horrible fucking throw. The game's over. You saw that duck? He just threw a duck. Renfro was open. And he just, the last 2 passes, he stepped up and threw that. They have all their timeouts, but it's not going to matter unless they get a turnover. Okay, they're playing a 3 shell. He's open. If he throws the ball to the other side, right, more towards the middle, he's going to fucking score. And the ball just turned into a duck. Oh, wow. Maybe the safety has a play, but that's going to be a big play. Wow. And that was a hell of an interception, too. He just shit the bed. There's a flag now? Unsportsmanlike. So they lost 15 yards. They're going to have to run plays. Like, they're going to run the football. And they have to be secure with it, too. They can't be loose with the loaf, so. Think of it. If they wouldn't have 1 timeout, if you just don't have 1 timeout, you know what? I bet you they're just going to they might just kneel it down. Timeout. They're just gonna do like this and turtle up. Yeah, they got the. Oh, so they got a guy that not in uniform celebrated with them, and that's why the penalty happened. So, nah. Oh God, it's Tremaine Edmonds' brother. Yo, homeboy's red as a cherry, dude. Holy shit. They're in like a formation from the 1930s. Oh, the game's over now. That's it. Wow, Cameron Hayward. That's it. Yep. Wow, and just think of damn. Yep. And give Pittsburgh credit. I mean, they're trying to get above 500 for their coach. You know, they look like a team that was going to draft high early on, man. I think they started off the year, what was it, 1-5 or 2-6, and they've held in. Oh man. I always thought the Bills could get that off with Knox. I always thought the Bills could get that play with Knox. Because you never think he's gonna get that shit. That's something the Patriots ran with Aaron Hernandez. Because you never think the tight end's gonna get that fucking ball. That's a terrible L. You know, that team turn oh, Josh McDaniels. He's an offensive coordinator. It's like a lot of these guys. You know, if you give them their thing to do, they're good at that thing. But the second they're not doing that thing and they have to look at everything, they're they're not good. They don't know how to do it all. You know, some team, you know, you just get in over your head. So 26 for 39, 244, a touchdown and a pick. I mean, I don't think they had too much wind, but you know, he outplayed Derek Carr. That's for sure. Wow, what a you know, I thought the Raiders are going to make it like the Steelers did their thing, you know, at the end, but I thought they were going to make it interesting at the end. But those two ducks that homeboy threw were awful. All right, guys, thank you so much. I'm not going to talk to you guys probably till next year. So yeah, so it's been another great year with you guys. Hope you have a really safe week. Hope you know the weather situation calms the fuck down everywhere, but especially up where a lot of you guys are at. And just if you're in a bad spot anywhere, the one thing I'm going to be looking for this week is how the wide receiver situation and the offensive line situation shakes out. Because you know, I don't know if they're going to win. You know, if Kumaro is close to getting back. Maybe Shepard gets a not Shepard. I'm sorry. Jamison Crowder gets a chance to start practicing this week. I have a feeling that his window might it might open this week. You know, Beasley's been active for 2 straight weeks. I'd really like to see Shakir, you know, start to move a little bit. You know, but he had a big play in today's game with the 2-point conversion. So, all right, guys, peace, love you all. Go Bills. Let's just keep the ball rolling. 6 wins in a row. Let's go for number 7 next week. And if they get number 7, last home game of the year, let's lock it down. And you know what I'm talking about. Love you all. Go Bills. No place I'd rather be than right here, right now.